What's up, friends? I'm just wondering what that aura do, boo. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Hello, loves. Hello. Welcome to Charlie's Truth YouTube channel, a playground for adults. My name is Charlie, and I am an intuitive soul guide and energy channeler. I prioritize simplicity, practicality, and love in all that I do. So today we are continuing with our soul remembrance through the lens of human design. And if you're new to human design, there are links in the description that will take you either to the introduction video, or there's also a link to my website where I also share information about human design. And there's also the Google. So feel free to explore any of those. But if you want to know what we're doing around here, please check out the introduction video, because it does let you know what my plans are with human design and with this channel. So please tune in. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the aura types. And I'm super excited to talk about these and to really kind of give you a visual, maybe. We'll see. So aura types are one of the 3 areas of the human design system that I highly recommend that we get familiar with, that we experiment with to begin with, and that we really set our foundation for human design through. I truly do believe that when I learned about my type, my authority, and my strategy, as well as my profile, I started there. That's where I started my work. And even after I learned about it, I took time off from human design and I just kind of sort of experimented with it. Whether it wasn't on purpose, really, it was just like, this is a lot to take in. Like, what does it even mean? And so as I saw the benefits of the experiment and practice, knowing my type and being mindful of my strategy and my authority, it really helped me to see how the system can be implemented and how it can support us in our journey of soul remembrance and our journey of just getting to know ourselves on a deeper level and deconditioning, reprogramming ourselves from what we've been told we were into really actually allowing the truth and the soul essence of us to emerge. Because that's what human design, I feel like, supports us and helps guide us through. Our types concern the body, our genetics, and our aura. Each type defines a particular mode of operating energetically. So this isn't about personality or psychology typing. We're really focusing on an energetic makeup of a being. So definitions determine what type we are, and our type is expressed through our aura. And so when I'm talking about definition, I am talking about the parts in our body graph that is colored in. When you look at the body graph, you'll notice that there is some colored in shapes. Those colored in shapes are our definition. So with that definition is what determines what type we are, what our aura is doing, but it's all determined on the definition within our body graphs. So all humans are surrounded by this invisible energy field around them. They say that it extends about 6 feet in front of us, on the side of us, and in the back of us. The frequency of our aura is communicating core information, core data with those around us. And it's a great tool for us being able to exchange information. And it impacts the way we relate to others and connect with them. We use our aura to taste the aura of those around us, not just the people, but also the places, the energy of it, the health of it. What vibration, what frequencies is it letting out for us? When you be like, I'm not feeling their vibe, I'm not feeling their energy, that is what you're talking about. You're picking up on someone's energetic field. Okay, you're communicating with them energetically. And so yes. So according to Ra, and I'm going to read this, auras are a full expression of the being and controlling agent of the way the form is going to work. Auras are the way we connect to and are experienced by the other. This information within the human design system and within my chart specifically has invited me into expanding my awareness of myself, and as well as supporting me in creating deep and intentional connections with others. I really do believe in quality relationships over quantity. And by knowing my human design and learning about my friends and family's human design, I've really been able to connect and support them in ways that are new for both of us and different for us. But we get to experiment with that. And I'm meeting people where they at and where their aura is actually communicating with me. Even when I don't know someone's energetic type, I can feel their energy. So I kind of get a sense now of like who is more of an open aura, who is more of a repelling, closed off aura, whose aura is like kind of penetrating and deep into me. Like there are so many levels to what an aura feels like. But nonetheless, a lot of us have the opportunity to actually feel into auras. Discovering your aura type, I believe, is the first step to understanding your human design and how it works. Knowing and understanding your aura type can help you in experiencing a more aligned life and experience within yourself. Just FYI, I did not go into the history of human design, but Ra is the individual or being that channel a lot of this information and how to synthesize these systems together in order to create this system. They are what I would consider the channeler or the oracle to provide this information to us. So, yes. So according to Rod, each energy type has their own role within society to help us operate in a healthy and organic way. So this is what Ra has to say. In a perfect world, manifestors get things started, projectors guide the process, generators provide the energy to realize or complete it, and reflectors tell us how well it is going. So let's get into these aura types, and I'm going to provide the visual I get about the auras from my own experience and perspective. And so that's what you will hear. And at the same time, I'll also add a graphic here so that you can see a visual of what I imagine. And so I hope that that is helpful for you as it was for me to create it and to tap into it. So let's do it. Hello, projectors. I am so excited to talk to you about your aura type. And so let's get into it. Before we even start, I do want to start off with projectors are non-energy types. That means that they do not have a defined sacral motor. This does not mean that they don't have other motors that are defined. So they can have the heart, they can have the heart, solar plexus, or root defined, but do not have a consistent energy power source, which will be the sacral. So as I mentioned earlier, each of the types have a role. And for the projectors are the wisdom keepers. They are the guides, the leaders. That's what they do. The projector's gift to the world is to understand and be a guide for the others. So, okay. So, the projectors have a focused, absorbing, and penetrating aura. Okay. That is projected to see into others and be seen. So as I mentioned, this aura type is designed to lead, to guide, and teach others, helping to bring clarity and aligning others to their personal life direction. I think about the idea of the projector's aura being focused and how that energy, right, if it's focused on the other, that energy isn't really focused on self. And I want to say that because I know I've experienced where I feel like other projectors, they provide insight for me about myself because I have blind spots. I really do believe that projectors can sometimes have blind spots about how they're showing up and who they are because their gift is to see the other. And so they may or may not be as aware of self. And I'm not saying that they don't have a sense of self because I definitely feel like I have a strong sense of self. However, there are individuals around me who point things out and I'm like, yes, oh, I didn't even think of that. So, so with that being said, I do encourage other projectors to have projectors around them to help them see a little deeper into themselves because I do believe that we do tend to have a blind spot due to the way our aura is focused. there's levels to this because I also very much tune into myself to check my energetic health. So you'll be like, in one breath, I'm like, well, I might not be able to see and witness myself as good as another. But then I'm also like, I also trust what I do pick up about myself. And I know I do gather information about myself. So I can't see myself. I'm just saying that there are potential blind spots. And that's why I do recommend you have other projectors around you that see you, that recognize you. So projectors' auras provoke recognition and the invitation. This is important because when we get into strategy, we're going to recognize, when we get into strategy, we're going to see why this is important. But think about this. The projector is here and their aura is provoking recognition and invitation. So keep that in mind because that is important. And I want to keep saying this. I do believe that our aura is made up the way it's made up to benefit what our purpose is as well as what our strategy is. There's a reason why our aura is set up the way it is in order for us to go about our purpose in this lifetime. And so I hope that that is communicated as I talk about the types and also when I go into the strategies because that is a solid and important aspect of all of this. So I want to talk about how the auras feel to me. So when I think about the projector's aura and I think about the fact that it is focused, it's penetrating, it is absorbing. One, right, wherever the visual is, I want it to be up so you can see this. Imagine someone being able to see through you. And it can feel a little invasive. It can feel like your secrets are being exposed. It can feel like you're being exposed. And so like a projector's energy and their aura can feel intense for some people. I will definitely say that their energy can be your energy can feel very intense for some people, and it can feel like you're exposing them. So that's something to keep in mind when you are if you are a projector, if you're in communication with a projector, and if it starts feeling a little heavy or dense, there may be something to consider. And I feel like when we talk about strategies, I'll be able to break that down more, why that energy is operating that way. And when we do feel like these blockages or this dense energy, it may be someone communicating that there's no invitation for you to read them, that they don't want to be read, that they don't want to be guided, right? They don't want to be led. They don't want to be educated. Whatever the situation is a no for them. There's no invitation there. We're going to talk about that later in strategy. However, I do want to mention as you see the graphic, I do want you to keep in mind that that's what's happening. And I feel like having that visual will help you see how for some people it can really just feel like too much, a lot, overwhelming. Those are probably some of the things that people feel from you. Let's also look at where the projector's aura is penetrating. I often feel like the projector's aura is penetrating and focused on the G center. That's the identity center. That's where the love is and all that, the direction in life is. Like, I feel like the purpose, all those things is kind of in the G center. And I feel like it can be a lot. It can be a lot for people. You see the graphic. If you don't feel from that graphic how it can be intense, then whoo child, I don't know. But it can be, the energy can be very intense. As a projector, I've experienced what it's like to not wait for the invitation, what it's like to kind of like go beyond my own boundaries to tell people stuff that I'm picking up when they haven't asked for it, they're not ready for it, and hence the reason why they're responding the way they are. So let's talk about the characteristics of a projector. So as I mentioned before, all of the types have a purpose and have a role in this world. And for projectors, they are known to make up about 20% of the whole population. So there were only 20% of the population in the world, the world that we know of, are projectors. So their charts can be configured with as little as 2 defined center or as much as 8. Remember, at least the sacral of a projector is not going to be defined, which means that they can be defined everywhere else in their chart, but their sacral will be open. Projectors do not have a direct or indirect channel from a motor center to the throat. And this basically means that there is no potential for them to generate or manifest. So, projector, if you are out there starting things up or just initiating things, or no, it's a no for you. Interesting stuff. So projectors are the seers rather than doers in this world. They develop a natural wisdom and can recognize the gifts and skills that's available in the others. So because of the makeup of projectors, right, which one, they don't have a defined sacral, right, so they're not going. They don't have that powerful energy to just keep going. They are also penetrating the others and absorbing, right, so they're tasting other people's energy, which means that they can also end up carrying around that energy with them if they aren't cleansing their energetic field, if they aren't releasing that energy. That there can be so many reasons why a projector ends up burnt out because of the way their aura works and them not being mindful of how their aura works, aka how their body works, aka how they're designed to operate. Listen, from experience, I know that I was definitely that person that I would say was always in a cycle of burnout, and I just couldn't understand it. But the reality is, at least for me, was that, you know, I was out here operating like a generator. I was out here doing the most, being the most, trying to force things. So when you're like that and that's not your natural makeup, it's not so shocking that you become drained or exhausted or tired, because you're constantly like not being your most authentic self. You're not utilizing your energy in a way you were called to utilize it, right? You're not operating in the way that you were designed to operate. And therefore, you're doing more than either you're capable of or that you should be doing, and therefore you're exhausting your battery, or you're exhausting your actual like the energy you do have available to you, because you're just doing the fucking most. That's what I think of. Oh, with that being said, projectors need to use their energy wisely to be in alignment for their lives. And without wise use of their power, they risk burnout in their daily lives. It really can just be that simple. Like, you just exhausted, you're just burnt out, you don't know why. It's probably like a good question to ask yourself: am I doing too much? Am I doing more than I'm designed to do, right? What am I taking on that is none of my business? Another thing, so there are three categories of projectors: are the mental projectors, the energy projectors, and the classic projectors. And I'm actually going to make a separate video for that and for projectors. I'm an energy projector because I do have defined motors. I have my root defined, as well as my soul. No, my solar plexus is not defined. My root and my heart is defined, and those are two motors. And therefore, though the energy isn't consistent, it's inconsistent energy, it's still available energy, right? It's just not as as the sacral. And again, I will work on creating a separate video for that, just to lay it out and for you to be able to see, you know, what category of projector that you fall under. So projectors have a general openness to life. So the openness of projectors allow them to take in and taste the energy of others and be able to recognize how they can best utilize their energy. And this happens from their ability to absorb energy. I mentioned earlier that when we can absorb, we can taste the energy. That means that you're actually pulling this energy into your energetic bubble. Think about that. Think about that. Think about the idea of absorbing, tasting others' energy. Is it getting stuck or just hanging out in your aura field? Are you cleaning that energy, reminding yourself, this isn't me. I don't need to carry this around. I get to let it go. I get to transmute this energy. So not only do we read the energy of others, we can also determine like how someone can best utilize their energy. I know for me, I'm a people watcher. So a lot of times I tend to just watch people and recognize like what's not working, what's not going to work, when they're doing something wrong. Like, not wrong, when they could be doing something more in a more effective way. Or I know like when people are building things, usually I can tell like whether or not they misalign something, or went in the wrong or whether or not it's set up the wrong way, or if they missing a screw, or if they didn't tighten. Like, I can just usually I can tell when something's off, and I can just be like, wait, hold on, something's off here. And I can just feel it a lot of times, or I also notice it. Yeah. But even being able to read the energy of others, and even be able to recognize some little wonkiness within systems, we still need an invitation in order to share this wisdom. So projectors need an invitation if we want the insights exchange to go in an easeful and inviting way, right? Is there an open invitation to share this information? Because projectors, you see deep into people, you see things, or you are able to gather insights about people that they may not be ready to hear, they may not want to hear, and so you need an invitation before sharing it. Doesn't matter if you feel like, oh, it's no big deal. You just never know how another will take it. And so it's best to be invited into the situation. Projectors are here to guide, lead, and teach. They have an ability to see things the way others can't. Whether that's reading into people, devising systems, or designing new ways of doing things, each projector has a special ability of their own. They have unique insights into the way the world works, and through their sensitivity and awareness, they have the ability to see a bigger picture. Projectors are designed to work at their own pace in short bursts, and they work best when guiding, directing, or leading. So here are some of my tips for projectors. Projectors, I do want to invite you to cultivate your own gifts at your own pace, right? Like, you are not here, your energy is not set up, your definition is not set up within your body makeup to be out here acting like a generator, aka doing all the things. You do not have a sacral motor, which often means that you don't have the energy to keep going, doing. Projectors are not here to do, they are here to be. They're here to guide, they're here to lead, they're here to support in that way. So cultivate your own gifts and do it at your own pace. Become a master of what you love. Be excited about what you're talking about. Be excited about what you're doing. Be excited about the guidance that you provide. And once you do that, once you're able to recognize your own gifts, once you're able to recognize what makes you so special and everything else, you will also notice that other people are attracted to that. And these people who are naturally attracted to you will be able to witness how wise you are. And they will be able to witness your wisdom and your talents and your gifts and your skills. And that's what they get to invite in. Projectors, when you show up, your aura attracts. Your aura attracts and draws people to you. And the only thing that you're required to do is to sense or taste which invitations you actually want to say yes to. And that means being able to recognize who truly do see you. You get to decide that. Do they see you, and do they recognize you? Do they recognize your gifts? Do they recognize your abilities? Do they recognize your magic? Before you just say yes to something, be mindful of that. And due to their inconsistent energy, projectors do need time alone. And as I mentioned earlier, right, if projectors are out here absorbing information, there is time where you need to just kind of like slow down, check in with yourself, release the energy of the day, release the people, projections of the day, all the things, and just kind of let it go. So they do recommend that you spend time alone. They also recommend that some projectors kind of sleep alone. My recommendation is experiment with it. Experiment with what your needs are and decide for yourself what you need in order to be your optimal self, in order for your energy to be at the potential you desire it to be at and how you want to show up. So experiment. You do not have to take everything that we read or that we say about human design at face value. You get to decide what parts of it resonates with you and what doesn't. So our ability as projectors to absorb, expand, and reflect the energy of others may leave you drained at the end of the day, as I said earlier. So you really want to be mindful that you're doing some aura cleansing, that even like if you're just in a shower and you just like, I release all the energy that's not mine to hold on to. I give thanks for the information, the insights, the wisdom that it provided me today. And just kind of give thanks and like release that. It's not mine to hold on to. Whoop. Their ability to absorb, expand, and reflect the energy of others can leave them drained and incredibly vulnerable to conditioning and burnout. Projectors are here to guide others towards the possibilities, towards what's possible. They are intuitively connected to what is possible. However, like I said earlier, and we're going to get more into it when we're talking about strategy, before you share your incredible, and impactful insights and immense wisdom of what is possible, you should follow your strategy, projector. And we're going to talk about strategy next week. But you can look it up now. It's wait for the invitation. What does that mean for you? What does it mean for you to wait for the invitation? Listen, projector, you are designed to live your most successful life. You are designed for it. Your superpower is to make people feel seen, understood, and appreciated. I feel like that is a feedback I often get from people, but it took years for me to really develop that ability to help people feel seen, recognized, accepted, appreciated for who they are and how they express. But that is our role here. And for me, it makes total sense when I think about how I've always been as a child and just what's important to me. Like the ability to help someone feel seen, understood, and appreciated. Yes, please sign me up. I want to recommend that projectors focus on expanding your awareness. Your awareness is key. It's key to being able to function within how you were designed to function. Is helpful in being able to determine what energy is yours, what is someone else's. It will help you. That awareness will let you know what your neutral is, so that you know when other energies are affecting that. You know, I think that there's something so important about that. When I am able to be like, you know, I live in New York City, so sometimes when I get on a train, I can feel super anxious, and I've recognized and I've noticed through awareness that, you know, a lot of times I will notice that my anxiety happens when someone gets close to me, close to my aura field, or when someone comes on a train in a rush, right? Like, yeah, they may be anxious, they may be overwhelmed, and because I'm amplifying that, right? I'm not just feeling what they're feeling, I'm amplifying it. So that too is something to be mindful of, and there's even levels to that, which I feel like on an energetic level, as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, okay, that's a whole other conversation for us at a later date, but I'll come back to it. Trust that. So as I said, expand your awareness. Your awareness is going to be key, especially wisely investing your energy, your time, and your wisdom. So projectors have a natural brilliance and openness to taking on the expectations and energies of others. So a lot of projectors have managed, myself included, to kind of show up as a generator or a manifestor, losing themselves in the process. And that's why it's wise and important for us to look at the complex nature of our unique makeup and take the necessary steps to align with our authentic being. You know, we're not here to operate the same. And because generators and manifesting generators, right, make up such a big portion of the collective, a lot of us believe that we're supposed to operate like them, but that's just not our truth. Everybody's not meant to be a generator. You know, we're not all meant to build. You know, that's not everybody's role. And so, like, it's super important, I believe, for us to recognize what is ours to take on and what isn't, what is our role and what isn't our role. Projectors are designed with a desire to integrate with the other. And this is not a neediness kind of energy. This is more about a curiosity, right? I mentioned earlier that projectors are here to know and guide the others. So we are super curious about the other, and we're designed to be that way. So this curiosity is part of the way the projectors' auras work. I also want to be clear, as much as we're saying that projectors are guides and leaders, this is not to say no one else can guide and no one else can lead. I'm simply saying, like, that is what their energy is here to do. That is what their aura is here to do. That is what their makeup, their design is here to do. This goes back to me saying earlier that, you know, our type is determined by our definition, and our definition determines our aura. All of this is intentional, it's purposeful. There's a reason why we're defined the way we are. There's a reason why the mechanics of our aura and our makeup is the way it is, because it does play a part in what we're called here to do. We are designed with purpose. We can live with purpose. By being our most authentic self, we are living in our purpose. By learning and becoming aware of how we are called to operate, will have us naturally living in our purpose. There's nothing more we need to do but simply be. Yeah, you have choices to make. This is life. But if you're making choices in alignment with your truth, your strategy, and the way that feels correct for you, then baby, not only do you manifest a life that feels delicious, and for projectors that feels success for you, you also get to experience a more easeful experience. And I want to say projectors are not pushy or forceful, guys. This is a natural thing that their energy does. They don't have to force it, they don't have to push it. And because, like I said, our auras are naturally communicating, people know this. Something within our auras knows, like, they have what I need. They have what I need, and I want to go for that. Okay, that was fun. That was cute. I really do hope that this video is a reminder, or at least like help you recognize that we all have the ability to understand auras, to interpret auras, aka energy, and that this is not for the selective few. We all have the ability. When we are saying, I'm not feeling your vibe, this energy is just off, there's just something about them, we all are speaking the language of energy, where we're just like, I don't have a logical explanation, but something's off. I'm not feeling it, or I am feeling it. I'm just drawn to you. All these things are ways in which our auras are communicating with us, are providing us with information, and all of the things. So I really do want to encourage you all to like trust your knowing, trust what's coming up for you, trust how your aura works, trust how what information your aura is providing for you, because your aura also, right, is part of what is defined within you. It's part of what your definition is, which also talks about your openness. Where are you vulnerable? Where might others be projecting on you? Where might others be conditioning you? Are you aware of the conditioning? Are you being mindful? You know, there's tons of things to consider and think about when we're talking about auras, when we're talking about our aura types, our energy types, when we're talking about what's defined and what's not defined, and what kind of information is provided through knowing the mechanics of these things in our body graph, you know? These things in our body graph. Sorry, I'm like looking all over my room. I'm really looking all over the place. Okay, focus. So this was a little about the aura types. There are tons of information out there. For the most part, I just took a bunch of my resources and just gathered information for it about each type, while also considering how I feel the energy, how I interpret the energy, how the energy presents itself to me, for me to be able to know, like, I guess, how to respond to it, or what that aura is asking of me, or what it's provoking. Really, what that aura is provoking from me. Is it provoking me to ask a question for you to respond to? Is it provoking for me to invite you to something? You know, what exactly is it provoking? So I definitely want to encourage you to continue to research and even begin experimenting. I believe that the experimentation starts with knowing your strategy, which is the next video we're going to go with. So not only do you need to know your type, I definitely would recommend you know your strategy, and I recommend you know your authority, and allow that strategy and authority to really be the beginning of your experimentation with human design. And that's what we're going to be doing. We are going on an experiment journey. For those who are new to human design, this is definitely the beginning phases, and there's so many stories I can tell you. So if you have questions or anything like that, please feel free to reach out. I am here. I am open. I'm willing to be supportive to the extent that feels correct for me. So do what you will with that information. I also want to encourage you that if you already have a mindfulness practice or a way that you check in with yourself when it comes to self-awareness, I really do want to invite you to use some of these insights to help you pay a little bit more attention. How are people? What does your aura provoking people, right? What is it inviting from others? How does others respond to you? What do you notice? What patterns do you notice around you when it comes to how people just naturally react to you when they meet you? Or what do people say when you get to know them, and then they be like, oh, when I first met you, this is how I felt? Like, what do people say to you? take inventory, have fun with it. You don't have to take it in as facts or as a judgment. It's just something to play around with, to experiment with. This is not about right or wrong. This is not about judgment. This is about you figuring out how you were called, or how you were designed to operate in this lifetime. That is it. No other pressure. It's just I say keep it light. Keep it light. Keep it light. Keep it light. Don't overwhelm yourself. You don't need to go out and do a whole bunch of things. Like, nah, boo. Nah, boo. Things to consider. How do you see, feel, experience your aura? How does others see, feel, experience you? You can ask people who know you really well. You can even look up other of your friends and family sign and see how you feel about their auras. Because remember, you will also be able to see, like, what does their aura provoking you, you know? So I definitely want to encourage you to play with it, test it out. This is a way for you to start experimenting with it by seeing, does this ring true for me? Does this feel aligned for me, you know? So that's the way to start. This isn't about, if it doesn't resonate, it doesn't resonate. It's all good, you know? Like, there's no, it doesn't need to resonate. I know that there are things in human design that didn't resonate before that resonates now, or I didn't understand before that I understand now, and it's all good. It's all good. It doesn't make the system less or better or whatever. I personally enjoy it and love it, but that doesn't mean it's for everybody, and that's okay. And I also want to encourage you to make a game out of it. I know I've already said this before, but as a projector, one thing I do is I do have a game I kind of play between me and spirit or source or whatever you want to call it, where as a projector, it's very important that, you know, my energy is at a level where people can invite me to things, and my aura provokes recognition and invitation. So my aura provokes others to recognize me and invite me in. And so with that being said, one of the things that's really important to me, and I believe I was talking to generators about this too, is like being mindful of like what's happening in your energetic field, being mindful of how you're taking care of yourself, being mindful of how you feel, be mindful of how you're showing up. So one thing I do when I go outside is I'm always paying attention to how people interact with me. And this isn't a judgment on them. This is all about my aura. How do people naturally, how are they naturally communicating with me? How are they naturally feeling about me? So for me, some things I look for is a smile, or like a little, there just seems to be like an eye contact, which is like an openness. There's just certain things that people do that gives me information about where my aura is. And in the sense of like what's going on with me. Right? Because I do have open solar plexus, right? So am I consumed with other people's feelings? Am I consumed with other people's projections, right? And is that showing up in my aura? Is that showing up for others to recognize? Is my aura muddy? Does I feel all over the place? Do it seem like I don't even recognize myself? Or, you know, like, what is my aura saying to people? Are people able to actually recognize my true essence, or are they recognizing the projections that I've allowed on myself? You know, like, those are the kind of questions I ask myself. And it's not about being right or wrong for me, but it has worked to let me know, like, I will go outside, and if not one person smiles at me or say hi, or if I'm in a store and someone isn't really nice to me, isn't really kind to me, or they aren't patient with me, or they aren't gentle. And it's not just about one person. It's like a collective experience I take in to determine, all right, this feels like this is where we are, this is not where we are, you know. And it personally gives me a lot of information. And some people, I've shared this with some people, and some people are like really shocked. They're like, really? Like, that feels like a lot? But I'm like, no, like, for me it doesn't feel like a lot, because I understand how I am called to operate. I understand how my makeup is. I understand, and I truly believe that people get excited about me. There's something about my energy that makes people feel seen, feel accepted, feel invited in. There's something about my aura that provides that for people. So I do expect a certain response from the world, and I do get it almost always. So when I'm not getting it, I'm like, I just get curious about it. And it doesn't matter to me one way. It doesn't, like, I'm not putting a lot of pressure on how people treat me. It's just for me to check in. It's me gauge where I am, and that's all it is. But it's fun. I really, really enjoy it, and it's quite interesting, the information I pick up through that experimentation for myself. And I do rely on that a lot. And I'm always in awe about how people are with me, especially when people aren't kind. I was just like, huh, okay. And I wasn't always like this, but there's levels to it. And I mean, this can also go to the fact that I'm a Leo sun and Leo moon, so that can also be playing a part in why I expect this attention or whatever else. So, you know, take it for what it's worth. So the goal is to master your strategy and authority, and that is what begins your experimentation through human design. And so next up is strategy, and I'm so excited to talk about it. Yo, reflectors, I feel like I am going to need to create y'all a very, very lengthy video, or not. I thank you for rocking with me. I thank you for being here with me. I'm so proud I got through this. I did all these recordings in one day, and I pray that these videos are helpful to you, as fun as they were for me to prepare for and to do. So I love you all. I appreciate you all. Let's go.